I think that's been long enough.
Absolutely.
So I'm gonna call the meeting to order. We have quorum anyway, so I think that's helpful. Let me just bring up the agenda so I make sure everything is safe. Okay, so hey Joe, Joe's on video. So I'm really excited tonight to have Jim Resnick join us today. Jim, I believe you were with Montgomery County Fire and Rescue for your entire career that spanned a few decades, and now you're retired and a contractor. That's okay. I got the thumbs up there. I remember seeing your name a really long time ago because I'm a local. So um, I can't remember if you were a chief or a spokesperson or maybe both, but yeah, okay. So
Plus,
okay.
what you just said is I'm really old.
Well, you don't look old, so you don't. But Jim's here to talk about fire safety, and I think maybe I can give you just a brief background in our neighborhood because it's kind of an interesting story. We have a few different kinds of housing styles. So a big part of Randolph Hills has all brick and block houses that are about 1,100 square foot. But there's also a smaller section of the original Randolph Hills area that is stick built. So there's some split levels. But more recently, the North Quarter was built and is within our area. And so they are townhomes that are right along Randolph Road at the old Montrose Christian property. So we have an interesting diversity of housing styles going back from 1956 all the way up to 2019. So with that, Jim's going to do a presentation and then we can do a Q&A. And Jim, just so you know, we also record this to put onto YouTube for our members, just so you know. So I'm going to make you host.
Thank you.
If I'm able to do that.
Love our technology. Well, thank you guys for letting me on as Josh works through that. I'm actually kind of a neighbor. I'm literally right across the tracks. I'm not in Garrett Park, but I'm in White Flint Park. It says Matthew Tifford is now the host.
Thanks, Matt.
Okay, and
he'll transfer.
And I'm able to share screen. So actually, what I want to do is I'm going to start with a brief video. The video you're going to watch is a real live video. The video is only 1 minute and 20 seconds long. This is from a house fire that occurred over Labor Day weekend in Wheat Ridge, Colorado, which is a suburb of Denver, Colorado. And I'm able to share this. I'm able to use this video with the permission of the homeowner. It's his house where the fire occurred. A little background and a spoiler alert. Everybody got out. Nobody was injured. The house was a total loss. The gentleman who you're going to see in this picture, it's his birthday, and he's somewhere in his 80s, 82, 84, 85, something like that. It's a celebration for his birthday, and he has the beginnings of some kind of a cognitive decline, whether it's Alzheimer's or dementia, something like that. I'm not quite sure what it is. And you'll also see that he has a walker. The video is only 1 minute and 20 seconds long, and we'll watch that and then we'll get into it. So can you see the video?
Yes.
Yes.
And I'm gonna turn up my volume.
Oh, you can see the smoke.
There's a candle that was left too close to the curtains.
Oh boy.
So the gentleman's eating his lunch. Other people are in the kitchen, other family members. And at 23 seconds, we can see flames.
Whoa.
Oh man.
And that's the end of this particular video. I use this kind of as a teaser to what we're all about, to tell you, to let you see dramatically how quickly fire grows and spreads. When she yelled, when the daughter-in-law or whoever she was came in the room, recognized there was a fire, screamed fire 911, almost instantly another family member who was in the kitchen picked up their phone, called 911, gave the correct address. The fire station is about a mile away from their house. It's a fully staffed professional fire department. It's part of like the greater Denver area. And they were on the scene within 5 minutes of that 911 call. Yet the house was destroyed. The house was a complete and total loss within 5 minutes. Part of it is the architecture. This was an open concept kind of architecture. And once fire starts, it's going to go wherever it wants to go. Josh, I thank you for the great explanation about the homes in your neighborhood. For the most part, these older homes, and I'm living in one too, they're very, very segmented. They're very compartmentalized, and that helps to keep fire in check. That's one of the disadvantages of the new architecture, and that's why all new homes in the state of Maryland have to have fire sprinklers because of that architecture. In that home, you did not see any sprinklers because they would have activated that quickly. You didn't hear any smoke alarms, but that was in the den, and I wouldn't expect that you would have had a smoke alarm in the den because that's not somewhere where people sleep. Now, what we did see, though, was because of his cognitive issues, he was slow to react, and he reacted improperly. He started going towards the fire. So there's a lot of lessons learned from this, and I'll just use this as a starting off point. Let me jump into my presentation real quick, and I'm going to make this very, very quick. There's a lot of slides here, but I'm not going to go through all of them. I do respect y'all's time, and I appreciate the opportunity to do this. So there we go. Are you guys seeing the? Okay.
Yes.
Great. Okay. So as Josh mentioned, I've been with the fire department a long time, about 45 years. I've served a number of different roles, both as a volunteer and a career firefighter. I started as a volunteer at Bethesda Chevy Chase Rescue Squad. I transitioned after about 11 years. I was lucky enough to get hired and work full time for the county for about 28 years. I retired about 6 years ago, and now I'm back. I'm in part of our community risk reduction section, which is all about fire safety education. And I'm particularly involved with senior outreach and education. And I'm not going to ask any of you your age. So a real quick thanks to Josh and the whole Civic Association for letting me do this. The two best bosses in the world, my direct boss, Miss Beth Ann Nesselt, who's in charge of community risk reduction for our department. And what I'll say is, honest to God, one of the best, if not the best fire chief in the United States, at least. And I've been all over this country giving presentations, going to trainings and so on. And we honest to God, have one of the best fire chiefs. And also your local fire station is Fire Station 21, which is the Parkland station at the corner of Veers Mill Road and Parkland Drive. They're your primary responders, although you're very, very close also to Station 23, which is up on Rollins Avenue. For those of you who are old timers like me, they used to be across from Putt Putt. Also, I am personally familiar with a number of first responders and other essential workers that live in your community, and so thank you to them. Very quickly, we're going to go over what's going on with residential fires, why they're occurring, what we can do to prevent them, what to do if a fire occurs, which is what we call fire safety, and a little bit about tools for your home. We've already seen, we're not going to have to watch this again because we've seen this. All right. Just before and throughout COVID, we have experienced a different kind of epidemic besides COVID, and that other epidemic is house fires. We've seen a tremendous number of house fires, and our homes are now doing double, triple, quadruple duty. It's not just our home, but it's our office. It may be daycare for the kids or the grandkids. It may be school for the kids or the grandkids. It's our place of worship. It's our gym. It's everything. And with all of this extra stress, there seems to be a lot going on with fires. This is a fire that occurred over in Silver Spring, not that far from Holy Cross Hospital, at the end of February. And this is when before everything was shutting down. And the cause of this fire was unattended food on the stovetop. A couple months later, we had a significant fire up in Gaithersburg on Tiffany Drive. Fire was in the closet. It started as a small fire. There was actually some pretty significant extension, and this one started from oily rags that started burning spontaneously. So for anyone who does home projects using any kind of linseed oil or something like that, this is a big concern, and you've got to make sure that you treat those rags correctly, and we'll get more into that in a little bit. Another fire up in Gaithersburg, again, unattended food on the stove. This one happened in May in Leisure World. We don't see a lot of arson fires in Montgomery County, but we had this one, which was a very significant fire. And actually, about a week ago, we had another significant arson fire in Potomac, where fortunately the firefighters were able to get on the scene quick enough and rescue a woman out of a second floor window down a ladder. Another unattended cooking fire. This one was in North Potomac. This is in North Chevy Chase off of Kensington Parkway. Middle of the day kind of a fire, and this was an overloaded and improperly used surge protectors. They actually put up what they call a daisy chain, where they had one surge protector with a lot of things plugged into it, plugged into another surge protector with a lot of things plugged into it. Basically, they overloaded that outlet, and as a result, you see what happened here. A very significant fire in Kensington on Farragut Avenue, almost right across the street from Kensington Fire Station 5, $1 million damage from improperly discarded smoking materials. So our messages are pretty simple. I'm not going to pretend to be Patsy Cline. I'm not going to sing Stand By Your Man, but our message is close. It's Stand By Your Pan, whether it's something you're cooking indoors or outdoors. I'm glad somebody got it. Thank you. Anything with open flames, candles, fireplaces, fire pits, the list goes on and on. The fire department loves electric flameless candles, these little battery powered candles. You can buy them at CVS or at Michael's or on, of course, Amazon, any place like that. Electricity and electronic devices are often causes of fires. And like we said before with the linseed oil, any kind of solvents and items that oxidize need to be treated with a lot of caution. Here's a brief video, if I can get this to run, and I think it will.
I'm not hearing any sound. Is that?
Darn, I don't have sound either.
Yeah, I'm not. For some reason, I see that he's moving his mouth and talking, but I don't have sound.
I'm missing it too.
I see the video just fine, but not the sound.
Same.
Me too.
Okay.
I don't think he knows.
No, so can't hear.
Hey, Jim, can you hear us?
I don't think he can.
Darn.
Okay.
I mean,
And it was fine before. It just when he started playing that video is when I had an issue. So I don't know if there's a way to message him.
I just did.
Okay.
That's too bad.
Give me one more second.
Oh, now I can.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Now we can.
Yes.
So strange. I I didn't do anything, I swear.
It's just once the video came on, we suddenly couldn't hear the video or you.
Okay, real
Wait.
quick, I'll save you the time and trouble on the video. It was basically just demonstrating how linseed oil within 2 to 3 hours of those rags being in that box suddenly ignited.
We could see it, we just couldn't hear it.
Okay.
Yeah, so we got the gist. So
Gotcha.
yeah, okay.
We're gonna go back to this one more time real quick and blast through the last couple of slides. Okay, a quick, you guys are seeing the fire sprinklers?
Uh-huh.
Yes.
And come on. From the current slide. Good. Okay. If you're going to do any major additions, renovations, or anything like that in your home, you might want to consider adding fire sprinklers. They don't break the bank. It's about the same as adding mid to higher quality carpeting or flooring throughout the whole house. Each sprinkler head protects a certain square footage of the house. So that's how you can figure that out. The example I gave down below is that for a 2,000 square foot colonial at about $5 to $6 per square foot of protected area, it would be about $12,000, which sometimes if someone's going to do a major renovation, that can be kind of incorporated in the other costs of the home. And again, you can adjust that for the size of your home. This is a demonstration of a side-by-side fire sprinkler study that was done. We've had a number of these done in Montgomery County. Basically, they make two separate rooms that are identically furnished. The same chairs, the same TV, the same lamp, the same dresser, and so on. And they drop a candle on a couch. They then let the fire go. And as you can see from the graphics there, the room on the left, which had a fire sprinkler, the fire sprinkler activated in less than a minute, and that's the condition of the room. You can see it there. It's basically intact. It's got water damage, but it doesn't look anything like the one on the right. This is at the 2 minutes and 40 couple of seconds, and you can see 2 minutes and 30 seconds, and you can see that it's not survivable, and that's how fast fires can grow these days because of the synthetics that we have in our homes. I'm going to save you guys I'm not going to, I'll show you the first couple of minutes of this. This is a video that was put together by Underwriters Lab. Can you hear it?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
In the event of a fire, who here thinks that you're safer sleeping with the doors open?
I keep them open because I was a mom for so long. My kids' room is 2 doors down from mine, always open.
I'm not all that confident they would stop anything anyway.
I'm glad we close our children outside of our room.
All right, I'm going to turn down the volume. Basically, they had a focus group with just some random. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yes.
Mhm. Yeah.
They had a focus group with just some random people that they picked from the community and talked to them about fire safety. People said they really didn't think about it that much. And the guy then says, we're going to give you a demonstration in addition to talking about things. So this is in Delaware County, just outside of Philadelphia, Delaware County, Pennsylvania. This is at their training center. They've built this mock-up home and they've got it furnished actually pretty nicely with ordinary looking kinds of stuff, the same stuff that you could buy today at any kind of a store, a Marlowe's or something like that. There's 2 bedrooms. One of them is closer to the living room. The other is farther away. They're going to have a candle that's dropped on a couch in the living room, and they're going to let it go. But the key here is one of the bedrooms is going to have the bedroom door open. The other bedroom, the bedroom door is going to be closed. And actually, the door that's open is farther away from the living room. It's not the bedroom that's closer to the living room. So you can see the fire has started, and I'm going to turn up the volume again.
What a lot of people don't realize is that the furnishings that are in our homes today are made of synthetic materials. So they burn so much faster than your old natural cotton-filled furnishings used to be. The statistics that we've seen through our research is in about 40 years ago, you had about 17 minutes to get out of your house after the smoke alarm sounded. Now you have less than 3 minutes.
Holy crap. See, this is the things that we were. Whoa. Can you feel that? How can you survive that? Seriously, that is insane.
All right, go ahead, knock it down. All right, as you remember, closed door on the left, open door on the right. And you can see the dramatic difference between the two with the simple closed door. Press it.
So all that is, the only difference there was a regular bedroom door, a hollow core bedroom door, and that's the difference that it can make. The difference is about 1,000 degrees. The room with the door closed is absolutely survivable. The temperature only got up to about 100 degrees. In that room, the other room, the temperature was 1,000 or 1,100 degrees, and that will just burn you to death. The carbon monoxide was high in the bedroom that burned up, and so on. So what the message is that they're trying to get out there is the message of, and I'm trying to get it to the end, close before you doze. That's the tagline that Underwriters Laboratory, who does this video, said. So we talk about fire safety and fire prevention. Fire prevention is trying to keep fires from occurring in the first place. We've already spoken about a number of the regular causes. We don't want to leave cooking unattended. We don't want to leave candles unattended. If people smoke, please smoke safely, and never, ever, ever, ever smoke around oxygen. The electrical issues.
Like a verbo.
Whoa, hold on one second. Hold on. Why is it still making noise? Oh my goodness. All right, I'm hoping that noise, the video is going to stop now. So we'll keep on pushing on. You get the idea, don't you?
Sure.
Can you guys hear me okay?
Yes.
Yeah.
Thumbs up?
Thumbs up.
Okay.
Mhm.
Actually, Josh Silverstein, actually, is Josh, I saw a note from you that we can't hear you, but is that previous?
Yes. Yeah, that was before during the ABC video.
Yeah, that video is still going on in the background, unfortunately. I'm not sure what's up with that, but I'll figure that out in a moment. So what I want to make people aware of, I guess if there's one take-home message for you and your community, it's that the fire department is here not just in the event of an emergency, but also we are here in case people want a free home safety check from the fire department. So what we do with these free home safety checks is people can call 311, or they can go onto our website, which is mcfrs.org/mcsafe. And I'll show it to you here at the bottom of this screen, mcfrs.org/mcsafe. If they go onto that website or they call 311, they can request a free home safety check. Myself or other firefighters that work with me will come to people's homes, although with COVID, we're not coming to people's homes except through the magic of FaceTime. I'll do a FaceTime call, I will do a voice call, and we'll talk someone through the steps of what they need to do to make sure they've got the right stuff in the right places working in their home. I deal with seniors in particular, and we don't like to see people getting up on ladders. So one of the things that we do is we have them use a yardstick or a broom to test their smoke alarms. We also want to make sure that especially seniors, and whoever is a senior can figure that out on their own, that they have a file of life that is filled out and is up to date. So the file of life is a thing which goes on your refrigerator. is a little magnet on the back of this. So it goes on the refrigerator, and the form, this one, instead of the magnet, I've got it just in a Ziploc bag with a magnet. The form has all of the information that the paramedics, the EMTs, the firefighters would need in case there's a medical emergency. Things like allergies, medications, and the rest. We want people to know that all smoke alarms, regardless of whether it's a hardwired alarm or a battery-only alarm, all smoke alarms must be changed every 10 years. That's a big deal, and that's because the sensors eventually just get tired of working. So that's a Maryland and a Montgomery County law, but it's also what the manufacturers have been saying for years. When we do the home safety check, we'll take a look in the laundry room, make sure that the dryer vent pipe is clear, or we'll talk about how to get that cleaned out. We'll talk about the importance of regular maintenance on your furnace, keeping combustible items away from the furnace, the hot water heater, all the other appliances like that. So that's kind of what a home safety check is all about. Usually takes about 20 to 30 minutes. It's not very intrusive, and we don't judge. I don't care if the place is a mess. I want to make sure they got working smoke alarms. So that's my spiel. For whatever reason, again, I still got some audio going on in the background, and I think I just figured out where. It just stopped, didn't it?
Sounds
I-
okay.
Yeah.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Does anyone have any questions?
Yeah, actually, I have a question. I think, it's pretty obvious, at least to me, that I shouldn't leave my stove unattended. But one thing that I focused on as one of the common sources of fire that raised my eyebrows a little bit are appliances. Could you talk a little bit about, what the sources of fires are on appliances? Like, is it a design related issue? Is it from the circuit? Is it improper installation, or all the above?
It can be any of those things. Usually it's not a design type of a thing. When there is a design problem, that's what often creates a Consumer Product Safety Commission recall. They get the word out, you get something in the mail, don't use this. They'll, if you've filled out your warranty stuff, they email you and send you a letter and so on saying there's a problem with this. And fortunately, there's very, very few of those. It's general maintenance, it's age, it's the maintenance or lack of maintenance, lack of cleanliness sometimes that goes with the age of the appliance, and maybe just misuse. Just a couple of thoughts. Anything that creates heat. I've got a toaster oven over here or a microwave oven. Anything that creates heat has the potential to start a fire. So the best answer I can give you is pay attention to them. I can't tell you how many times I've been, and this is, again, 45 years in the fire department. We go to a fire, and after the fire has been extinguished, we bring the fire investigators in and the homeowner in, and we're trying to recreate where the fire started and what might have started it. And as we're digging through the rubble and so on, the fire investigators have come up with their theory about what it is. And then they bring the homeowner and they say, tell me what was over there, what was on that table. And I had books there, I had a clock radio, I had a lamp, and so on. And then the person goes, you know what? For the last couple of weeks, that lamp has been making a really weird humming noise whenever I turn it on. And it's like, listen to it, okay? So just paying attention to these appliances is probably the number one thing I can tell people. You know how it acts, you know how it sounds, you know how it smells, and so on. And if it's doing something odd, shut it off, unplug it, flip the breaker, don't use it, get it repaired, get it replaced, get rid of it, something along those lines. That's the best advice I could give, I think, Josh, and that's kind of universal. Anyone else?
So things like toaster ovens and so forth, if they're not in use, just keep them unplugged. Is that?
I'm a big fan of unplugging toaster ovens
Okay?
and toasters and so on. A fire that I ran probably about 20 or 25 years ago up in Alney, there was now kids were going to school, not being home at school, but there was a 13-year-old boy whose parents were both working. he came home from middle school and did what every 13-year-old boy does. Goes to the kitchen to get a snack, took off his backpack, threw it up on the counter, grabbed a snack, and then went downstairs to play Xbox or whatever it was at the time. About 15 minutes later, he thought he heard something weird and thought he smelled something weird. And about 5 minutes later, the smoke alarms went off. He went upstairs and the entire kitchen was on fire. There's a lesson there. The first thing that happened was he smelled something. This didn't react for like another 5 minutes. So you got to pay attention to this. What had happened was when he took off his backpack and threw it on the counter, it depressed the little lever on the toaster and kept it down. So if the toaster didn't finish its cycle and pop, and that's what started the fire. So my answer is, as soon as that type of fire had happened, my kids never left any kind of an appliance plugged in. We always unplug these things. So that's the guidance I'd give for that, Diane. Thank you for asking. Any other questions, comments?
I had a question regarding the sprinklers.
Yes,
And
sir.
the question was, if one sprinkler goes off, do all the sprinklers go off and within one dwelling? And if so, how long does the water run? Does it empty a certain gallonage, or how does everything not get destroyed anyway by water?
Perfect questions. So there's a lot that goes in there. A couple of things about fire sprinklers. They all go off in Hollywood. In a movie, when there's a fire and there's sprinklers, they pull the fire alarm and then every sprinkler head goes off. That's Hollywood. That's not reality. The way that these things work, there's a little glass bulb that you can see in the middle there.
Yes.
And in the liquid that's in that bulb is an alcohol-based liquid which expands at about 135 degrees Fahrenheit. Not very hot. If you think about it, like we had meatloaf tonight, which we cooked at 350 degrees. This thing pops at 135 degrees, significantly less, okay? So these things are up at the ceiling, and if a fire is in the early stages and the heat is going up to the ceiling, wherever the closest sprinkler head is that feels that heat first, that's the one that's going to pop, and then it's going to make a shower that covers a pretty wide area. It doesn't know it's that couch or that chair or that toaster oven, but it knows that there's heat in that area. Now, as soon as the water starts flowing, the instant the water starts flowing, the temperature in this area drops immediately.
Right.
So the chance of another sprinkler head elsewhere being activated, it goes away. 99.999% of all fires that occur in buildings that have sprinkler protection, if there's a fire, the fire is either extinguished or at least it's controlled by one sprinkler head. Now, these will flow about 10 to 15 gallons per minute. It's a lot of water. That's going to fill up a bathtub in about 2 minutes. And the water is going to continue to flow until somebody either takes a wooden wedge and jams it in here, which means they've gotten up into everything, or they go to the valve and turn the valve to shut it off. In a high-rise building, that's the fire department that's going to do that. So there's a lot of water that's coming. By the time we respond, make sure the fire is out, and then the captain sends someone to shut off the valves, it's going to be a while. In a single-family home, chances are, if you're home, that you'd recognize things and you could do it much quicker. The water damage is nothing compared to the smoke and the fire damage from a fire. But more important than that, these things save lives.
No doubt.
These allow people to walk out of the house. So it is a huge deal, and we're big proponents. I've got this little fake house which has a sprinkler head in it to show how they work and where they go and stuff like that. We're really trying to push this a lot, and it's
Excellent.
something
Thank you.
to consider.
Great.
What else you got? And keep in mind, we're recording this, so this might be for one of your neighbors who couldn't make it tonight. Well,
No, actually, one thing that could be really helpful, it's not really a question, more a request. If you have any pictures, graphics, or something that we could share, we're old school. We have a printed newsletter that we mail to, about 1,400 households, and especially in the context of the virtual inspections that you're offering, I think that's something that would be helpful for us to advertise to our community. So if you have any sort of literature or something that you could share with us that's like, probably like a half a page or something like that, I think that would be something really helpful for our members and
I'll be
community.
happy to do that. Do I send it to you, Josh?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, and do you prefer PDFs or Word documents, or it doesn't matter?
Doesn't matter.
You'll make it work.
Yeah, we have a graphic artist who helps us out. So yeah.
Very impressive. All right. That's what I got. I know you guys have other business. I know it's been a long, exhausting week for everybody, and it's not over yet. So I'm going to go ahead and say goodbye. I thank you for your time, and I thank you for your attention and your willingness to have me come on and join you guys. So thanks for letting me come into your homes. Have a great night, and call us if you need us.
Hey, thanks a lot.
All right.
Thanks, Jim.
Thank you.
All right. Well, the next agenda item is Andre North Quarter update first. And
You
you're
need to unmute, Andre. You need to unmute.
Okay.
we can hear you.
All right.
Now we can hear you.
Okay. Yeah, things are moving along pretty quickly here. I don't know if anybody's taken the time to drive through or not, but the community is really coming together. And at this stage of the game, we have altogether 32 homes either closed or under contract. The split is the 20 homes have closed, another 12 are under contract, which means they should be closing over the next several months. So, the community's been open since last June, the June before of June 19. So you can get an idea if you just do some division about what the absorption rate is and, how quickly it's moving along. So in a little more than a year, maybe close to a year and a half, so 32 homes. So 12, that's roughly about two, 3 a month, if I'm correct on that. I'm not sure I calculated that right, but you get an idea of it's moving along pretty quickly. And I thought, actually I asked about the echo distribution. Then I remembered at another meeting, I think, or another inquiry I made, everybody's going to get that anyway once they move in, right? There's no need to do anything else.
Are you getting one every time?
Interestingly enough, I did not get one last time. I printed it myself from here.
Okay. Have you ever gotten one in the mail?
Yeah, that was the
Huh.
strange thing. When I first moved in, I did get one, but I haven't since. And I'm just wondering whether or not we're missing an opportunity. And I was, if we had a few extra, I'd also put them in the sales office. So, when the sales consultant knows the homeowner is closing, you say, hey, did you see this? You can give them one,
Yeah,
sometimes it'd be paid more attention to than in the mail.
Yeah, that's actually, I think we could easily do that. The mail, it might take a while to get the mail thing sorted out because
Right.
I checked on the USPS website. They don't even show your neighborhood on their map.
I'm not surprised.
So
That's one thing that has been a nightmare here.
Yeah.
Mail. So you're right. You can't count on the mail here for a while. And what happens is one mail station may come online, but that's not serving the whole community. The next bank is not yet ready, et cetera, et cetera. So there really isn't anything that is solid. I'd love to have like the sales consultant, when people close, just give them some information about us and so they can look us up.
Right. Yeah, I think that's certainly getting you some copies to have there. That won't be a problem.
That would be great. I can pick them up from wherever. Just somebody give me a word where I can come and get them, and I will.
Sure. Okay.
The other thing, I think that covers it, unless anybody else has any questions on that.
No, I mean, I think the other thing is, Ken and I had been talking about developing, sort of like a one pager. And I think that I actually based it off of like our next door welcome message. So there's something that we could just print now and, print out like 50 copies or something like that. And we can give them to you.
That'd be
sort
great.
of like a one page. And that's something that, you can always have in case. Sometimes I think, Matt, when we, like month by month, there's a little bit of fluctuation of extra echoes, right? Because sometimes God knows what happens to them, but it varies.
Because of the printing process, there's always extras.
Yeah.
All right,
I think we can probably do a little bit of both.
Drop me a note on that, and I can come pick some up, next week or something like that.
Okay. So the next item that we have is also, Andre, it's speed cameras on Randolph.
It's it's kind of funny actually, but I guess it could become a bit of a problem. I've noticed since I've moved in, basically since February, what happens late at night is that, well, when I say late at night, starting usually like 9 o'clock or so, when there isn't that much traffic around, the stretch from the light at the old Loman's Mall until you hit where the cameras are down the hill, that's used now as like a wonderful drag racing strip, where I'm not saying cars are racing each other, but individual vehicles who have the really loud mufflers are gunning it to see how fast they can get in that stretch before they have to come slow down for the cameras. So anyway, it's really loud, and I think it could really be helped just by moving the camera up a bit. So they didn't have that long a stretch to really gun it for.
So it's from Loman's Plaza to where do they stop drag racing? I guess I'm asking.
It's Dewey. It's Dewey in
Putnam,
Randolph.
yeah, or there too. Okay. But I think Putnam is like where the flat part starts to end, and then it's more of a hill.
Yeah,
they've moved that camera around a few times over the years, but usually it's like maybe 100 meters away from two different places. But yeah, I guess what I don't understand is why they don't move the cameras around more in general, because people
get used to it.
Yeah, they really do. So we can, I don't know exactly, Matt, do you know how that camera was installed?
No. Typically, what these things come to be because somebody asked for a traffic study to be done, and to say, hey, there's a problem here. Why don't you study it and see if there's anything we can do? And then they do a traffic study, and then they say, oh, this would be a great place for blah, or they say no, nothing. But on a major road like that, what I don't entirely know is how the fact that isn't it a state road, Randolph Road?
Randolph.
Good
Is
question.
it numbered?
It's not. It's not a state route.
It's not a state route. Okay, so that makes things a little easier then. If it's not a state route, then that should be fully under the county purview.
I'm assuming it was put there originally because of kids walking to Veers Mill.
I think you're right.
Because there are all the kids that go to Veers Mill from the other side. So I'm assuming that's why it was put there. I'm not saying we shouldn't move it. I'm just saying that's. But
it is helpful if we know the approximate the time range when it's the most problematic. We can tell them that. And then they will schedule a traffic study for those. Like pick certain days of the week you think are the most problematic and the time range, and they'll do a study and they'll see what's happening.
Now, what about adding another speed camera, or is that just too many speed cameras on one road?
Well, you can't really
too close.
See,
folks?
we don't get to pick what they do.
Okay.
We can just say there's a problem, and then they'll study it, and then they'll tell us what they're willing to do.
Okay. All right. I was just gonna say.
Yeah.
But moving the camera is a good idea too, because
Yeah,
who's ever drag racing apparently is enjoying it, so we can catch them. And
they know where the cameras are at this point. Most of us do,
Yeah.
you know.
Oh yeah.
And
no, but I mean, looking at it from a county's perspective, if they can catch them drag racing, I don't know, send them a ticket, they're going to make money off of it. So that's another way of putting it towards the county. So
actually, I think it really could become a bit of a dangerous situation later on, because right now nobody is really using the alternate entrance to the community. But in the future, when those the additional buildings go up, people will be exiting from the community right onto Randolph, as opposed to coming off of Putnam. So when somebody's hauling ass up that road, it could cause a real problem.
Oh yes, absolutely.
I wonder if the origin of that traffic camera is from Montrose Christian, because there are two.
Yeah,
that's possible.
The two major programs that I understand the speed cameras come from is either related to a school, proximity to a school, and I don't think Veers Mill is close enough, and there actually probably aren't too many walkers crossing Randolph to get to Veers Mill.
Actually, there are a bunch of folks.
Really?
Yeah,
Up that high though?
The whole other section of our neighborhood all goes to Veers Mill.
No, but they walk there?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah,
I didn't know that. Wow, that's a serious walk for a little one.
I know my kids had friends who lived on the other side and and had to walk across, and
that's dicey. But the other program is called something like safety corridors or safe speed corridors. And usually when it's something like that, there's a sign that says like you're now in a safe speed corridor or something like that. And I don't recall seeing one like that. So I think one thing we want to do is, if we want the camera to stay on Randolph, we might want to, before we reach out to MC Dot, we might want to do a little bit of diligence to make sure that they don't decide to just remove it entirely because it's no longer a school zone.
Yeah,
that's true. That's true. I got the impression that we at least have some liaison or some connection to the police if we have issues. I'm not sure. Is that correct?
We do have Officer Dana Stroman, who I do contact when we have issues.
Okay.
For traffic related, I think it's a different person we need to reach out to.
I see.
And also it depends on the road. That's why people were asking if it's a state road and so forth. So I know we had it printed in one of the echoes too. I have to go back and check, so we could like email someone and say, okay, but we do have to do a little research before we do that, because as Josh said, they might say, oh, there's no longer a school there, we no longer need a speed camera. So right now with the speed camera there, at least it slows people down a little bit, they can, so we have to be careful about how we ask the question and how we go about it, or say, hey, can we have this done because we notice there's drag racing on the street during these times and so forth, and maybe they'll move the camera and so forth.
I don't want to mischaracterize it because it's not technically drag racing. That takes two cars.
It's just people speeding.
Yeah, it's just somebody seeing what speed they can get over the short distance, and so it's like a real
But we probably should also mention that there are, right now with kids not actually going to public school with COVID, but when they do go back to school, we do know there's kids that do walk to school, and we probably should emphasize that.
Agreed.
Somehow to the liaison. So just because we know people are going to be walking, so especially children.
Right.
Okay. Let me write that down. Liaison.
Although
once
again, this happens more at night than during the day.
Yeah, but speed camera out there for, hey, there's school children walking.
Absolutely right.
That'll work. That might work.
That's probably better.
Oh yeah, we can hear them at 9 to 11 every night now.
Yep.
So
Yep, I hear him too.
Okay.
Okay.
I just put the email address for all traffic related issues. I just put it on Slack under the meeting thing. That's where all these questions, carefully crafted questions, should be directed.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
And not a bad idea to CC Navarro's office. It's always good to let them know they're being supervised.
Okay.
Yeah, I think I haven't. I've put some requests through that email address, and I've so far been unsuccessful in 100% of my requests, to be honest with you, and most of them were related to getting different crosswalks in our neighborhood. I think we did get one that was already planned, and they just implemented it early, but they're very picky, for lack of a better word.
Mm-hmm.
We should talk about that some point, maybe later, because I've had a lot of success with the crosswalk thing, and it really does have to do with how you make the request, and what you got to come up with a good argument, but do it there's certain arguments that they go for. Usually, if it involves children going places, that if you can point, well, look, there's a park right here, and there's this right here, and then if you can make a plausible argument, they'll do it.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
That's good to know. Yeah, I personally would like a handful or maybe two handfuls of crosswalks in our community that are not presently there.
Well, also, are you talking about just striping, or are you talking about bump outs?
Just striping.
See, that's easier to get than the bump outs.
Yeah, bump outs would be nice in a few places too, but really, I mean, like right by you is where I was thinking one, like across Ashley at Schuylkill.
Yep.
Or sorry, across Schuylkill at Ashley.
Right.
I mean, that place is a death trap, but a few other places. So maybe we can try to.
You have to walk all the way down and cross over if you want to get to the.
Yeah, it's such a pain in the butt, and that intersection is kind of dangerous at Garrett Park Road and Schuylkill. Mm-hmm. People are driving fast, so we can talk about that more later.
What might be most effective is if we could put together a big list, like a neighborhood-wide list of places where we'd like to have striping, and then initiate it through a council member. Say we want to do a special project to improve pedestrian safety, and so that it ends up being them, going to DOT and saying, we've got this neighborhood, they've got this special project, that could be very effective.
That does sound like a good approach. Would it make sense to ask the overall membership to submit, in other words, to put something in Next Echo or something and say, hey, we're doing this project. If you have any suggestions, now's the time, or hold your peace.
Yeah.
I like that a lot. That's good. Yeah, that's a good idea.
Cool.
Maybe making an agenda item for the next meeting and get people to attend the meeting to voice their request.
And if nothing else, they can complain on Nextdoor. I'm just kidding.
Yes.
They will.
No, I mean, that's where Nextdoor actually really is very nice, because I think it's easier to send a 10-word message than it is to attend a meeting. So I think all approaches would work pretty well. And I think the crowdsourcing concepts really worked well with the trees. It's not on the agenda for tonight, but Matt, that ended up being a really awesome project, and there are several dozen new trees in the neighborhood.
Yeah, that worked out. I honestly, when I started it, I was thinking I had about 20% chance of success on that. I was pretty happy it worked.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's something we should try to do every. I don't know what the right pace is, but maybe every 3 to 5 years, it's worth trying to assemble a list. I don't know that
Yeah.
yearly is really worth it, but maybe every 2 or 3.
Right. Not yeah, probably not yearly, but yeah, no, we should
Yeah.
definitely do it again, and yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Well,
Okay.
I was surprised. Who was I don't know who was. Somebody told me this, but apparently there's a reason why Montgomery County is pretty aggressive with their tree program, and no matter how bad the the finances get, they never cut it,
Well,
and it's because there's a I guess known in the right circles, a very strong connection between um, trees and like developed trees in neighborhoods and home values.
Oh,
Like nationwide, it's something that's just known in policy wonk circles, and that so that directly affects the tax base.
there you go.
mm-hmm.
It's like we need to keep the trees.
Yeah.
It helps when they have their own nursery too.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
it's probably not that expensive for them to do it and probably pays for itself. But
Well,
that is on the listings. It says mature trees or something in a neighborhood.
yeah.
It's a win-win situation.
It is a win-win. But they also specifically gave us certain trees.
Right.
So, and they probably have done their research, which trees last longer, which trees are good for the neighborhood, which trees,
which trees are okay to put under power lines.
Exactly.
So maybe we'll have fewer trees that look like they've been tortured.
Yes, because they only grow so high, so but they still look pretty. So
That's why they've got that program. They have a separate program to put trees in your yard.
Really? Oh.
Free. Yeah.
Tree Montgomery.
Right. I forgot about that.
Yeah, like like please plant some trees back there.
Very good.
Okay, so actually, moving on to the next business item, I pulled it out of the committee reports just because public safety has been, on a lot of people's minds. And so I think, Matt, you had said that there is some update.
Yeah, and I guess I've already put most of it on Slack, but I talked to Stroman. I made a pretty big effort to try to get anybody at all down there to talk to me. We walked down there with the dog all the time, and one of the neighbors down there told my wife that that guy in that house is the one you want to talk to because he knows what's going on. So I went to that house, and he wasn't home, but his wife was, and I gave her my number, told her who I was. Haven't gotten that was like a week ago.
mm-hmm.
Nothing. So it's like this is not terribly important to anybody.
Yes.
Right.
Okay. So it blew up, as
Yeah.
you well know. Okay. Like someone said there was a drive-by and so forth, and it just got like all sense. And then I talked to Officer Dana Stroman. There was an incident that happened. Something did happen, but it wasn't a drive-by. No one got injured. No one got shot. As far as we know, we're not even sure it was a gunshot fire. We just know it's something that sounded like a gunshot because there's no shell casings like Matt wrote. And so there was some unusual activity that night, but it could have been an old car backfiring for all we know at 4:00 in the morning. So, but again, it gets on next door and it gets all blown out. So for now, I've actually walked past the house in question that, everybody thinks they call it the drug. Well, somebody called it the drug house. I don't know who. I have a hard time believing they're the drug house, but I don't see any drug activity. And I live down the street from them. Literally, I walk past.
Oh, wait.
Yeah.
Wait, okay, I wasn't sure if that was me. We lost you for a second, Diane.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay. So,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
So basically, I was just saying I walk past that house, that intersection pretty much every day. I don't see any suspicious activity. I have the nest. The suspicious activity, it did show up. I did give it to the police, but it's not illegal for people to be driving around in a car at 4:00 in the morning. It's just,
True, it's not.
Now, I don't doubt that there is occasional drug deals going on.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we had a
Yeah.
situation.
You had that in front of your house.
We had right in front of our house. There was a guy. He didn't even live in the neighborhood. He had a regular thing where he would, a few times
I
a
remember
week, he'd
that.
pull up
Like your
after
cop.
work right in front of our house and meet somebody, and deal would go down. That's just how it's done these days. So there could very well be things like that that have been happening, down and near that corner.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, there's no reason to believe that it's necessary that particular house,
No.
or that there's anything really big time going on.
Yeah. So at least not now. Ken did email me some emails from 3 years ago. There may have been some activity. The police were informed. There was an investigation. To our knowledge, no one arrests. That doesn't mean the person who's doing it is still in the neighborhood, because that was 3 years ago. I don't know if they've
Right. I don't even know if that, like, the house is under the same ownership anymore as it was.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, I mean, the other thing is, like, there have been, one or two other different situations in the neighborhood, and the neighbors were pretty aware of what was going on, because, if somebody's selling God knows what, 10 or I don't even know how many times a day, like, people notice that. And so if there was that kind of activity, I think, Diane, you probably would have seen at least one of those.
Yeah, next door. We would see that. Matt lives, like you said, he walks his dog. He would have seen something weird too. You walk past every day. Now that we're home, my husband and I both try to get out of the house and walk around. I haven't seen that activity. So, now I'm looking. I'm actually going by that house and actually looking for, a couple times a day, just, any suspicious cars, or no, nothing unusual, same cars, so, I haven't seen anything yet. I never smoked marijuana. I don't know what drugs are, but I mean, except on movies and so forth, but I haven't seen any suspicious activity as of yet. So and none of my neighbors have said anything to me. So.
Yeah. Well, you would be able to smell something off. There's a house that I walk by all the time. It doesn't matter what street it's on. And I'm like, oh, wow, they're, it smells good over there.
Marijuana is legal, right? Someone can smoke
medical marijuana.
Yeah, medical.
We don't know who has a license and who does not. So
I think it's also a misdemeanor too. So it's
really
it's not even. It's decriminalized, and fully legal if you have a medical permit, if you do, in the privacy of your own home. But it's not legal to, like, smoke in the public. But I don't know what they would do.
It's nasty smelling, but it's otherwise basically harmless.
Yeah, well, I've been told it smells like a skunk or something. It's like really, something like that.
I can't explain. It's a really nasty smell. My roommate in college would smoke in our room, and very distinctive.
Mm-hmm. Anyway, I haven't seen any dealing going on, like a car driving up, someone getting in and out of a car. That's the things that I'm kind of looking. That's illegal. I know that. So so I haven't seen that.
Okay.
That's all I got.
That's all I got. Yeah.
Okay. I mean, now that we're talking about public safety, Diane, do you want to do your committee chair check-in?
Sure.
Since we're
Sure. Since we're on the topic. Okay. So we did have a meeting a Zoom meeting of second district police advisory on October 13th. And I did type up some notes for the Echo. So they're in the Echo. But basically, they were talking about, besides giving us some stats, crime has now ticked up because it was down for a while because of COVID-19, but now it's ticked up. But the main thing is, and they always emphasize this, is lock your doors, lock your cars. Don't leave the valet key in the glove compartments, because once they get that, we don't have too many people with garages in the neighborhood that are connected, but if they can get into your car and open up the garage door opener, then they can get into your house. So for the people who live over the new townhomes, Andre,
Yes.
warn your neighbors about that because you guys have garages,
Yes.
right?
But
Yeah.
a lot of the garages are still full of stuff that people are moving into the house. So there are also cars on the driveways.
Yeah, and that's the problem. Your car's not in the garage and it's
Right.
exposed, and someone can get in. They can open the garage door and then get into your house.
You're absolutely
And
right.
if they look like you're not home, they're going to do that. And they specifically attack. Also, the holidays are coming up, so be very careful. Since because more people are home, we probably won't. Hopefully, knock on wood, have the porch pilot since. The other thing they talked about was the election. Okay, now the election is still going on. I guess it was still going. A lot of people were concerned about riots because we did have some down in DC. They were concerned about issues before, during, and after. So we don't know who's won yet. There were people's political signs being stolen from their yards. That was minor, but there are people who are worried about that. The police have increased staff. So that's definitely this. And also things like the mail-in ballots, they were talking about that. Now that's passed, but I did write that up for the Echo. So again, if you see any suspicious behavior, like someone stealing signs out of the yard or something like that, do report it. It's usually kids or something, but anything looks suspicious at all. They are working with different intelligence agencies on it, but people were very concerned about that. Okay.
I got threatened at the polls. That was fun.
What?
I was handing out flyers and I had a guy standing in front of me and trying to scare me away. That was super fun.
Were the police were at the polls though, right? They had extra police there.
Not at everyone. I was at early voting at Wheaton.
Oh, early voting.
Yeah, early was. Well, but I was also out on election day. They didn't have police out at every site.
They were supposed to though.
Okay, there were police cars nearby. They weren't actually at the polling place, but yeah, at early voting, I had a guy threatening me, so that was fun.
Okay, that's not good at all.
It was awesome.
Yeah, well, they were supposed to have police. See, this is the thing. The police want to be there in case something happens, but they don't want to intimidate people from that.
So yeah, so maybe there. I mean, I was at on election day. I was at the Marriott Conference Center, where the kid threw the rock at the car with the big Trump flag. I actually was there at the time, so
Okay, but I mean,
it was a fun election, but yeah, nothing serious.
Okay, yeah, I mean, a lot of the things like the stealing of the political signs out of people's yards, I think, it's going to be like teenage kids kind of trying to prank. And that's minor, but still report it. If stuff like that happens, absolutely. That's why we have the police. That's why we pay taxes and they will come out for every issue. But yeah, they want us to report that behavior because they want to keep an eye on that. The idea behind it, they did want to have the police there because they were afraid, in a sense. At the same time, Maryland they don't check IDs. So people can, you don't need a photo ID to vote. So they didn't want the police, they want the presence there, but they don't want to intimidate people.
Yeah, no, they shouldn't have had police sitting right outside the polls. That would not be, that would not be
intimidate some people. So they were like, we'll be there. So I guess, anyway.
Yeah, I mean, I would rather not have them there, but.
Well, there was a concern, and that's the reason why they were increasing their presence. So.
Yep.
Okay.
All right. So on to old business. I have the Echo as just one old. It's not really an old item, but I put it under old business. Just we struggled a little bit to have content for this Echo. The next deadline is going to creep up on us, so just I'm putting it out there for people to start thinking about things that they could submit. We probably won't have the next one I should say, go out before Thanksgiving. So even if it's something as simple as putting your favorite Hanukkah or Christmas treat, maybe I'll put my donut recipe and really just the one that I found online that I like.
It doesn't matter. I can always use a good sufganiyot recipe, so I'll take
it. But just try to think about something that's maybe not burdensome to you, but could be of value to other people. especially something like a recipe or, that's kind of why I was asking Jim about having some literature about fire safety, because that's, very useful content for people that wouldn't put too much strain on us. So I just wanted to see that.
Do we want to put these minutes into this issue? Because I can have it uploaded before tomorrow, or do we want this to go into the next issue?
I'd just put it in the next one, honestly, because I think we're finally, like, it's been like pulling teeth now for like maybe 3 or 4 weeks, and I think we're finally at a place where we can send this to the printer. So
cool. Then I will put it in whatever the next folder is.
Thank you.
I just wanted to observe that I'm very impressed with the Echo, especially with its frequency and its quality. Both things together, I'm extremely impressed by it. I don't know how you've been able to sustain that. Actually, to me, it would seem like once every 2 months might be doable. But you guys, if you've been doing it for this long, that's just fantastic.
Well, it does help that it's something that it's been going on for so long that it has a tremendous amount of momentum behind it. Yeah. There's a system in place, to keep it going. It's been, have you looked at the archives? I mean, it goes all the way back until the 1960s.
No, I haven't, but I will.
It's pretty cool looking through that.
Yeah.
And we were able to streamline it a bit a few years ago. That helped quite a bit to get it so that it was a little less labor intensive than what it used to be.
I think it's a wonderful thing. It looks great and it conveys good information. And if we can fill it up, every month, that's just great.
Yeah, it's cool. I didn't scan the old versions because a past president was an excellent record keeper, and so he passed on a lot of these, and I think Blair actually helped us scan a lot of them. But I was doing the optical character recognition, and while I was doing that, I was kind of going through them, and there's some crazy stuff. I found a picture of my uncle from when he, from 50 years ago, basically. When he was a Boy Scout. So there's like some interesting tidbits in there. I wish there was a little bit more of a setting of the time period of, there's not too much mentioning of the Vietnam War in the 60s, there's the 70s. It's very, clean on what was happening. Like it's like hyper local. So it's interesting, but I think, Vincent and Sarah have been doing an amazing job, and Menzel before them was doing a great job as well.
They are wonderful.
Yeah.
Terrific.
Okay. I don't know if anyone from the mural committee has an update, but it was on last month's agenda, and I just kept it on here in case there was anything that needed to be talked about.
Not really anything that I'm aware of, Josh. Nell was out. She had some surgery done, and so I think it's been kind of on hold.
Okay, thank you very much. So then the last piece of old business is Thrive Montgomery 2050, which is, Montgomery County's update to their general plan. So there is, first of all, I received an email from them, which effectively acknowledged for the first time that we submitted comments to them. So I was very happy to receive that. Hooker, I know that you had asked me, like, did you get a confirmation? And I didn't, but they did email us to let us know, hey, you're receiving this because you submitted comments. And there is a November 18th deadline for testimony. And what I was thinking about doing, thanks, Hooker. You look like you're in an interrogation room right now. So I'm not.
I'm on my phone and my camera is extremely blurry. But anyway.
But you're safe.
I am safe, and congratulations that we finally got some credit for actually turning that in. That was a lot of work.
It was.
It was, yeah. I mean, we we had tables at a meeting. Andre, you weren't involved at the time, but we had, I don't know, we probably had about 25 people join a meeting, and we really like kind of took it seriously. They had this, it was like a meeting in a box concept. And so they had this plan that you could do. And it was an interesting concept in, public comment and democracy and things like that. So we submitted comments, written testimony or a request for phone testimony is due by the 18th. I don't personally think I can do in person, but I'm willing to help put together some written testimony. And effectively what I was thinking about doing is a gap analysis of what we submitted versus what is actually in the proposal right now, which I think would be a little bit easier than just trying to review the whole thing, because it's quite a bit of work. So maybe I'll put a document in on the Google Drive, and we can at least start off with some bullet points, and then we can turn it into a letter from there. That is, unless someone wants to do video testimony. Okay. Hearing no one volunteer. I think Matt is thinking about it though.
What? So is it? When is the actual? Oh wait, this is going to be like a. This is not going to be in person because nothing's in person, right?
Zoom.
No, so it's a public hearing. It could be done by either telephone or video. I mean, we can. You know what we could do? We could wait till I think the request to testify, the deadline is the 18th, and then the public hearing is actually on the 19th. So we could, theoretically just develop written testimony that if someone has the bandwidth to deliver live, they could read that off.
Do you know what time it's going to be?
I looked it up earlier, and hold on, let me see if I still have it on my computer here. I don't, but I can figure it out pretty quickly.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, if I'm not working, I might be able to do it.
Public hearing, virtual, blah 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 blah.
But I think regardless, it's we should do the written testimony, and then Matt, if it works out, Matt can read it off and ad lib to it. If he's available. But yeah, I think you have the right idea, Josh. We're just starting off with a written testimony.
Yeah, and if it works out that I can also do it, deliver it live via video, it's just like my schedule's been kind of off, and it fluctuates like I'm sure a lot of people's are right now. So I think having it ready and able to deliver live, if someone can do it, is certainly optimal. And so we can start with me, and then we'll go to the VPs if I can't do it, and then we'll go from there to the rest of the board. But we'll collaborate on the actual content, so whoever delivers it really just has to read off our position. So but I think it's important for us to comment because it is a big deal. It's the general plan. And I think, we've served ourselves well in the past by staying engaged on these kinds of plans in general.
Yeah, no, I agree. They definitely seem to appreciate, active engagement in their stuff.
Okay. So that is all for Thrive Montgomery 2050. So now we're on to standard business and reports. We actually don't have any minutes to approve because they haven't been published in the Echo since our last meeting. We don't have Colby for treasurer's report, but I think he's doing okay-ish. We already had our public safety check-in. Matt, did you want to do anything for environment?
No, because that pretty much came under the same.
Yeah.
Yeah, they converge.
Yes.
Yeah.
So with that, I'm going to motion to adjourn this meeting unless there's some other major issue that we should talk about.
Not a major issue.
Go ahead.
really sorry, but is there a place that I can find a map that actually shows the boundaries of the community that we serve?
Oh yeah, we have a Google we have something set up on Google Maps, I think. Where do we have a link to that? Is it on the
I don't want to hold everybody up, but if somebody can just send it to me or make it available through Slack or whatever.
I think we actually have a link to it on our website.
Isn't it on randolphcivic.org?
Yeah, I'm looking.
I have it on a shirt.
I'll be right over.
Because we have extra shirts on today.
You go to Randolph. If you go to randolphcivic.org,
Okay.
click on neighborhood info. It gets you the map.
Oh yeah, I see it.
Perfect. Thank you. Thanks, Matt.
And we used to interesting story that I promise will only take 20 seconds. You know, back in the day, in the Echo, that map would be printed each time, and the location of the RCA board was actually on that map. So, you know, I guess that's good that no one has my direct address. No.
That's why.
Like our privacy now.
What kind of sign do you have in your yard?
Every kind of sign possible to please everyone.
Although I see that we don't have Waverly Schuylkill Park map.
Oh Jesus!
We got all the other parks on there, but we don't have Waverly Schuylkill, which.
Oh man!
It belongs to Garrett Park. That's why.
I thought it's just Schuylkill Park, right?
That's right. It's Schuylkill Park.
Lordy.
That's right.
We have to learn to share.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, so with that, I am going to motion to adjourn this meeting.
Second.
Okay, well then, good night, everyone. Thank you very much.
Good night.
We'll talk again soon.
Bye, guys.